Hello, welcome to my blog. I'm Camilla, and I've done various things in my life. I lived in Spain for some time, then came back to Great Britain, and I retrained as a cognitive behavioural psychotherapist. And I did that for about 12, 15 years, working with people with anxiety, depression, grief, and life issues. So hopefully some of the things I'm going to talk about in the blog, various sessions, are not just about surviving, but about thriving in life. And I'm going to start talking about anxiety and how to manage it. And anxiety overtook depression as the major mental illness in the Western world in around about the 90s, sadly. And of course, extreme anxiety can make our world shrink, our life shrink, even to the point where we never go out. And this in itself can cause depression. So a small amount of anxiety is desirable. It stops us walking across the M25 without looking in the middle of rush hour and getting knocked over. It stops us walking on the edge of a crumbling cliff and falling to our death beneath it. People with anxiety actually do live longer than people who don't, who are more daring, say. And of course, there's various kinds of anxiety, which I'm going to go through very quickly, and then I'm going to give you an example of how to cope with it, and I'm going to look at that in the next blog as well as this one, the next session. There is OCD is a kind of anxiety, which is obsessive compulsive disorder, and in a way it's based on what you call magical thinking. So if I check my front door 8 times and then spin around on my big toe, for example, then nothing bad was going to happen to my family or to me. And people actually believe this. It is a very, very unpleasant situation to be in if it gets extreme. Then there's agoraphobia, which is the belief and the fear that something unpleasant might happen, embarrassing, while we're out. Say we might be in a queue in Debenhams or something like that, and we might feel faint, we might think we're going to pass out and be very embarrassed. So that is another problem. And then there is post-traumatic stress disorder, which is how the brain reacts to severe trauma, real or imagined, but usually it's real in this particular case. And that is one of the major undiagnosed causes for depression. And then there is also social anxiety, which tends to be when we feel very uncomfortable with our peers. So we'd feel fine with children, say under 12 or even maybe under 15. We'll be fine with our parents' age group of people. We'll be fine with our grandparents. But if we're, say, 26, 36, whatever, that's the age group that we'll feel uncomfortable with. Possibly going back to bullying at school, various other things. So we can also, that can be worked on. And the final one is generalized anxiety disorder, which a lot of us suffer from. And I have had quite a lot of anxiety in my life, one way or another. And that is brought on by general worries, whether it's from, is there going to be a world war? Is the planet going to blow up because of climate change? Are we going to lose our job? What's going to happen with our relationship with our families? Can we afford to buy a house? Where will we live if we can't? All these things that prey on us. Am I as good as my friends? Am I as successful as my siblings, etc.? So all these sort of things would cause generalized anxiety disorder, which is the one we're going to look at the moment. And one of the things that we'll look at first are the physical symptoms, and we'll work using physical means. And the reason for that is that anxiety is the flight of flight and fight. Flight is anxiety and fear, and fight is anger, which we'll look at in another session. And the anxiety causes various symptoms, some of which you'll recognise if you do suffer from anxiety. So sweating, whether sweaty palms or a very sweaty face, dry mouth, no saliva in our mouths, our face could go very white. One of the really unpleasant ones is our heart beat 20 to a dozen. It goes really fast. Then we can have a feeling though somebody is flipping pancakes in our stomach, or butterflies, or however you want to describe it, which can be very unpleasant. We could lose control of our bowels and our bladder, which is also very unpleasant. And we could also feel pins and needles or unpleasant tingling in our arms and our legs. And they all have a very logical explanation, which I'll go through at a later date, but they are unpleasant when you're going through them. And so what we're going to have a look at in a couple of minutes is the progressive muscle relaxation technique. And Adrian is going to show you how to do that. And the reason that it works is that we already have tension in our muscles. And that tension, when we add more to it, which is what we do in the exercise, we put as much tension as possible, and then we release that tension as slowly as we possibly can. And it's by releasing it slowly that we release the tension that we put in, plus what was already there. And then there's a very, very nice feeling of relaxation. And so we'll have a look at that right now. Okay, so now we're going to go through the progressive muscle relaxation technique. And Adrian's going to show us how to tense those muscles. So if you'd like to stretch your feet forward, pointing your toes and putting as much tension as you can in from your thighs, your knees, all the way down, and point those toes, if possible, curl them over so that you're feeling tension. 2, 3, 4. Now relax slowly, let those muscles relax back. Okay, great. Now I'd like you to take your feet so that they're in the same position, but point your toes towards your face. So you're now putting tension all the way from the back of your thighs, the back of your knees, your calves. Hold 2, 3, 4, and then gradually one muscle at a time. Relax, release, and let go. Relax, and let those muscles slowly fall back. Now I want you to think of all the area around your lower abdomen. So that's below your waist, all your intestines and all your buttock area. Clench all those muscles together as tightly as you can, if possible, without clenching your thigh muscles. So clench all those muscles tightly. 2, 3, 4, and now one muscle at a time. Slowly relax, release. And you can see as you watch, Adrian actually sank a couple of inches or a couple of centimetres back onto the sofa. So that's the level of tension you're putting in those muscles. It's raising your torso. So now I'd like you to think of all the muscles from your waist up to your shoulders, and I want you to arch your back, pushing your shoulders together at the back so that you've got as much tension. Go carefully, be aware that you're not giving yourself cramp, and put as much tension in your back as you can. 2, 3, 4. Now gradually relax, release, let go, relax, release, let go. And we're doing this very slowly. There's no point in rushing it. It's called the gradual method. So now I want you to think about your shoulders, and very carefully and slowly raise those shoulders up towards your shoulders, up towards your ears, as high as you can. Take them up as far as you can. Hold 2, 3, 4, and very slowly let them fall back down, sinking as though you've got two heavy weights, one on either shoulder, pulling your shoulders down, down. And this is a big area of tension for most people. We tend to hunch our shoulders and cause stress in those muscles around there. So let those muscles come down as far as possible. Relax and release and let go. That's fine. Now, I'd like you to very carefully turn your head to the right as far as you can, again, slowly and gently, so you can feel muscle tension in those neck muscles. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Very gently and very carefully come back to the center and relaxing, releasing, let go. Now, if you do the same to the other side, to the left, putting tension into those neck muscles, but being careful not to strain anything, and hold, 2, 3, let go slowly as you come back to the center, slowly, slowly, slowly. Let all those muscles relax and release. Now I want you to raise your hands out in front of you, your arms right up out at shoulder level, and palms up. Clench those hands as tight as possible and put as much tension from your shoulders along your arms into your hands so that you've got white knuckles and you can feel all that tension. 2, 3, 4. Now gradually let those arms sink down, let them float down like clouds onto your legs. Let your palms open gently like flowers and let all those muscles relax, release and let go. Okay, now I want you to clench all the muscles in your face. So this is gritting your teeth, frowning, screwing up your eyes, every muscle. Nobody's going to see you. Well, they're going to see Adrian, but they're not going to see anybody else. So tight, tight, tight. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Imagine a beautiful, soft, balmy breeze blowing across your face, letting those muscles relax, release, and let go. All of them are relaxing and soft. Now we're nearly there. Just take your tongue around the top of your teeth, and then your bottom teeth, and then the inside of your top teeth, and then the inside of your bottom teeth. And before you swallow, I want you to just think about your tongue and your throat muscles. And as you swallow, I want you to say to yourself, relax, release, and let go. We have a lot of tension in those muscles. So softly swallowing again, relax, release, let go. Okay, and how this works, that's the end of the whole set of relaxation muscles. This works by putting tension. We already have tension in our muscles, and we put more tension in, and as long as we release it slowly and gradually, all the tension goes out of our muscles, and hopefully you're feeling a lot more relaxed. So we'll carry on. Thank you. So you've had a look at the progressive muscle relaxation technique, and what we're trying to do in managing anxiety is telling the brain that the coast is clear. So when we get all these symptoms, and I won't go through all of them, but what the brain is trying to do is save our lives. The flight or fear and anxiety goes way back to in all animals, but in humans as well. And it is, if there's a threat, perceived or real, and that's the important thing we have to remember, because not all the threats that our brain reacts to are real. In fact, most of them aren't. But that doesn't make any difference to the brain. The brain still thinks red alert, danger, and brings all these symptoms on. And these are called autonomic or automatic symptoms. And for example, if I put my finger towards my eye, I can't help blinking. It's my body's automatic response to anything approaching the eye in order to keep it safe, or as safe as it possibly can be. So if we, when we're feeling very anxious, our muscles tense and the body is breathing very, very shallow to get as much oxygen into the blood and send it down to the muscles of our arms and legs, because that's what we run with. And also it's what we fight with, which we'll come back to, anger being the other side of anxiety. So the more we can tell the brain in dealing with anxiety, all is clear, no threat, then the less likely it's going to bring on these horrible symptoms. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in the following blog. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. If you would like to subscribe, that would be good. If you would like to tick to say that you like it, that's good. And if you found it helpful and think you know somebody else that it might help, then that would also be great. And I'm going to do 2 or 3 on anxiety, managing it in different ways, and also a couple on anger, and then we're going to go through different things like simple cooking, maybe some gardening in a very small space, and looking at different ways of thriving and enjoying our lives. So goodbye for now, and hopefully see you soon. Bye.